So welcome to week 14. This week we'll be going over a few more After Effects tutorials, a few more demos, and tools to know and tools to use. We'll be taking a look at some 3D stuff, some 2D stuff, and just a little bit of expressions, which are kind of scripts in After Effects. Now, I won't be writing anything from scratch. There are some pre-made expressions in there, but knowing how to use some of those, even at an entry level, can really kind of bump up the quality of some of your work and just add a little bit more kind of to things and give you a little bit more flexibility. So I want to introduce you guys to that. We'll be taking a look at looping things. As you can see in the week 14 to-do list, number 1, begin planning and working on your final project. It is a 30-second seamless loop. So we'll start at second 1, go up to second 29, 30, and do something. And then at second 30, it should loop back to second 1, and it should be seamless, like you can't tell the difference. Kind of like a big long GIF or GIF, depending how you pronounce it. But that will be your final project. I want these to be done in After Effects, but I also want you to include one animate element. And I'll show you guys how to do that as well. So we'll be covering a good bit of ground today, a lot of kind of little pieces and parts, but things that will kind of tie into your final project and hopefully help you guys implement some more interesting and developed kind of effects and things like that. So a couple things that I just wanted to show you guys today. We'll be looking at parallax, so creating parallax with 2D objects. And if you're unfamiliar with that, that is kind of having things in the back as a camera moves, left to right, up and down. Things in the back tend to move slower than things closer to the front or in the foreground. So creating a parallax effect creates a very kind of 3D element and 3D atmosphere in a scene. So I want you guys to take a look at that. I'll show you that today. And we'll be using kind of null layers or control layers to do that. So I'll introduce you to those. So control layers, parallax. We'll also look at some trim paths. And we will also look at, what else did I want to show you guys? Yeah, looping animation. That's right, using expressions or scripts in After Effects. So like I said, a lot of little, components and nuts and bolts, but once you guys get familiar and comfortable with these kind of concepts, you can tie them into a lot of the other stuff we've looked at earlier in the semester. So that's kind of week 14. Again, the final project is not fully in Canvas yet. I don't have all my descriptions and stuff in there just yet. I'll get those up by the end of the day. And then as for every other week, there's a discussion and a digital sketchbook assignment. The sketchbook assignment, the prompt this week is top and bottom. And the discussion this week is about career paths. Any kind of career that you are interested, I'd like to hear about, whether that involves graphic design or not. And I'd like to hear, how you think graphic design kind of squeezes into that, or if you can see it squeezing into that. Not just graphic design, but any kind of digital design, graphic design, or anything otherwise. Kind of what you're learning now, how can that apply to what you're interested in? So we'll just kind of go through here. So this first page are some kind of helpful little tooltip videos. Some of this stuff we've already covered, like rotoscope masking or rotoscope brush tool. Some of this is just regular masking. I've kind of pointed out some of this stuff and we've talked about it a little bit before, but these are some more helpful kind of videos, tutorials. Working with transitions. Again, some of this stuff, most of the stuff I think we've looked at in some degree, but this is stuff that's just a little more concise and specific to these particular kind of tool sets. So importing files, you should all feel pretty comfortable with that by now, but here's a brush up as well. So, importing files, transitions, masking, rotoscope, this kind of stuff, it's kind of like a refamiliarizing yourself with it. Just because, these are going to be some helpful tools whenever you start working on your final project. So yeah. Next here is going to be your final project. So 30-second seamless loop that makes use of both Animate and After Effects. Again, this obviously isn't the final kind of project description. I'll get that up there later this evening. I'll probably try and do it before the sun goes down. Keep an eye out for an email. Our sketchbook, again, top and bottom, same rubric, same scoring as always. And the discussion this week, career interest. What are you interested in? Do you see graphic design, digital art playing any kind of role in that? If so, how so? If not, do you think it could? So that's kind of it for this week. Not anything too crazy or out of the box, but just, getting comfortable with a few more extra tools in After Effects to make your whole kind of workflow a little bit more streamlined. Any questions on any of that stuff? Feeling good?
There's probably a really good chance this will be covered in when you do the assignment for the final project. But when you say the 29-second loop, is that exactly what you want, or is that the minimum?
That is the minimum.
Okay, so you could do 32 and start it all over, whatever. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. So long as it's 30 seconds of all unique animation and movement. And by animation, I don't mean necessarily frame by frame animation. I just mean movement. And that can look whatever it needs to look like. So I want to keep this, as all the projects and things in the past that we've done, kind of broad. That way you can work on, kind of your own particular interest. If you're interested in kind of character animation and traditional animation, you can do that. You can do a 30-second loop. If you're interested in more kind of motion graphics and movement, then you can do that in After Effects